Hi everybody, this is Philip Martin and this is OnFilm on Video. We are doing this a day early, at least I'm recording it a day early, because the Oscar nominations just came out. And I wanted to give you, for the sake of novelty if nothing else, this is the first time I'm actually looking at the nominations. I don't know what they are as I sit here. I've got them in front of me. I haven't scrolled down to read them. I'm going to look at them and react in real time, basically. So I haven't read anything. I don't know anything. I haven't heard anything. This is a total experiment, and this is the first take. So let's look. And I've got the New York Times story about the nominations, just a straight story, no color or anything. The nominations list queued up here. So I'm going to look at this, and we're going to go through it, and we're going to see what we think about it. Okay, just reading the first paragraph. Wow, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once got 11 nominations. That surprises me. I thought it would be nominated for Best Picture. I thought it would be probably Michelle Yeoh would get a nomination, and I didn't really think it'd get much more than that. I still don't think it's going to win, but we'll see how it looks after this. I don't care about the Oscars. I mean, if you followed this at all, if you followed this section, my column, or anything I've written about the Oscars, you kind of know that I don't really follow them. I'm not really an Oscar believer. I'm sort of, they're fine. They're an award show. It's not my thing. It has nothing to do with what I do as a movie critic. I do know what won last year, Coda, because I was asked last night, and it took me a minute to figure it out. I can't remember who was Best Actor last year. Maybe it'll come to me. I'm not sure. But I can't remember who was Best Actor. I can't really remember much else about last year's awards. So that's kind of, I take it like that. I mean, I'm very casual about it. My guesses are never very good, or not as good as the people who pay attention to it, and I don't have any problem with people paying attention to it. We pay a lot of attention to it in my section, just personally. I don't. Okay. Full list of nominees. Best Picture. All Quiet on the Western Front. Now, I like that. I like that we have an international feature, and I think it's a very good one. It was in my top 10. I don't know where exactly, but it was one of the movies I thought was one of the top 10 best of the year. So I'm glad. I don't know how many Best Pictures we got. We can have what? Up to 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got 10. Okay. I'm good with that. Number 2, and I guess these are in alphabetical order. Yes. Avatar: The Way of Water. I would have been happier with this being Best Animated Film. I don't have any problem with it. I mean, it's a nominee. It's an Oscar nominee. It's done $1 billion already. It's getting people into theaters. It's good for the industry. I understand why it's there. My feeling about the Avatar movies is that they are what they are. They're beach balls. They're the technical. It's amazing tech, and it's fascinating to look at for a little while. But I don't think this represents the height of the filmmaking art, and I don't think that's what the Oscars recognize. I don't even think they're designed to recognize that. So, yeah, it could get a nomination. Fine. Banshees of Inisherin, which is my favorite movie of the year. I've talked about that. I'll probably ad nauseum here and other places. It's my favorite film. Doesn't mean I think it's the best film, because I don't worry about what the best film is. Elvis, this Elvis movie is not the best Elvis movie there could be. It is basically a Wikipedia page, beautifully realized by Baz Luhrmann, and I think that there's some real virtues to this film, but it's not my Elvis movie. I would not have nominated Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Again, I like this film. I like the Swiss Army Man, the film the Daniels did before this one, better. That was quirkier. That was more outre. This is for them it's great. They're moving ahead in the industry of the field they've chosen. They're learning how to play the game. They have made a very inventive, fascinating, interesting film. Okay, The Fabelmans. I think this one we sort of knew was going to be there. I don't know. I don't like it. I mean, I'd like some of the maybe first 30 minutes of it, and I like Michelle Williams. I don't feel, and this is not totally unfair because it's just a visceral. I don't think it's a very honest movie. I don't think it's Steven Spielberg really opening up to us. I think it's Steven Spielbergizing his own mythology, and that's fine. It's not my film. Tar, I really liked. I don't get some of the criticism that's been leveled at this movie because I think you can honestly make horrible movies about horrible people. I mean, make good movies about horrible people. I don't understand some of the criticism that some critics have levied on it. And I just, I really love the performance. I love the way the way the universe was created, which sort of reminds me of a Marvel film. It's sort of like, they built this world. Now it's a world that looks very much like our world, and except cooler. And it's very much an NPR movie. Very much, very tasteful, very refined. I like this. This would be one of my picks for the Oscar. I think Banshees is my favorite movie. So it's like, what am I going to do? Go against Banshees? I don't know. But Tar, I would not be unhappy of. I wouldn't be unhappy if Top Gun Maverick wins either, because I do think that's a very well-made film. I also, as I've pointed out, it does bear a lot of similarities to Star Wars, and it is really, a feature-length Cialis commercial. It's like the old guys can still do it. Hooray! I'm an old guy. I am as old as Tom Cruise, older than Tom Cruise. So nothing wrong with that. Triangle of Sadness. I like other Östlund films better. But it's an interesting film, and I'm glad to have another international director in here. Women Talking, which is the last, I guess that's the last one, and that opens this week. And if you described the movie to me, I would think, okay, I don't like it. It's stagey. It sounds like, it sounds like it's a little on the nose. The politics of it are pretty obvious. But the execution's wonderful, and this redeems Sarah Polley in my eyes. I didn't like one of her previous films, and I really didn't like that film for reasons I really can't tell you now, except that it seemed to me, I'd have to watch it again probably to have the reaction I had, the visceral, reaction I had. But it seemed preachy, and it seemed didactic, and it seemed mean-spirited in a way. But all is forgiven. This is a really wonderful film. So, of the top 10, of the 10 Best Pictures nominees, I like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of them. And the others, I'm not. The only one I really don't. I understand why Elvis is here. I don't think it belongs. I understand why The Fabelmans is here. I don't think it belongs. Triangle of Sadness, I'm okay with. The Fabelmans, I'm not really happy about, but that's, you can't fight that. I'm really happy about All Quiet on the Western Front, Banshees, Tar, and Women Talking. Let's put it that way. Really happy about those. Not unhappy about any of them except maybe Elvis. All right. Best Director. Okay, haven't looked at him before. I have a theory that you give Best Director to the guy who made the best movie. So if you have a Best Picture, that it should line up. It doesn't always line up, even when I'm voting on these things, because you do this for different reasons. You want to spread awards around, or you have a point to make, or something like that. And none of this really matters that much anyway. So why not why not be irrational about it? Martin McDonagh, Banshees. The Daniels, Quan and Shire, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Spielberg for The Fabelmans. Todd Field for Tar. I like that. And Ruben Östlund for Triangle Sadness. Again, that's a really interesting. I don't know who got snubbed there. I know who got snubbed. Sarah Polley got snubbed. Sarah Polley should have been in there. Let's see. I don't really know anybody else who should have been in there. I'll probably think of somebody at some point. Best Actress. Cate Blanchett, Tar. Yep. Ana de Armas, Blonde. I'm glad this is here because Blonde is not a bad movie. Blonde is not a good movie about Marilyn Monroe, perhaps, because I wish it had not been about Marilyn Monroe. I wish it had been more along the lines of the Joyce Carol Oates source novel and just called her the Blonde and just, told this story that didn't really specifically, though of course it's all sort of this meta thing that we're playing with anyway because we knew that it was about Monroe, but it's really about the iconic representation of her. I don't think it's a bad movie. I'm really not unhappy that it didn't get a Best Picture nomination. I probably will get a Razzie nomination, but I'm glad they recognized her in this. Oh, Andrea Riseborough to Leslie. Now this is an interesting one because this is, you've probably there are stories about this because I had only just recently had this movie put on my radar. I have not seen it, but this is a case of a well-respected actress who has not been nominated before, getting nominated basically on the strength of her friends who thought she deserved more. They think she's been overlooked before. They tweeted about it, and here she is. Michelle Williams, The Fabelmans. I cannot ever be too upset that Michelle Williams is nominated for anything. This is not my favorite movie of hers, but I think she's wonderful. I do think that, that this is a problematic role and that I don't think it's an honest role, but that's okay. And as I predicted, one of the few locks I think I had was Michelle Yeoh as Everything Everywhere All at Once, Best Actor. And Cate Blanchett. I mean, I knew those two. Best Actor. Austin Butler, Elvis. Now, I don't really disagree. I don't like the movie, but I don't really disagree. I think he's very good in the film portraying one facet of Elvis Presley. I'll just leave it at that. Colin Farrell, Banshees of Inisherin. I think he's really good. I think this is kind of Colin Farrell's year because he was also really good in After Yang. He was also really good in To the North. Yeah, I could see that. Brendan Fraser, The Whale. We knew this was going to happen. I think it's a very empathetic portrayal in a movie I'm not quite sure. I don't like the movie. I'm not quite sure the movie should exist. Let's put it that way. But I have no problem with him being nominated. I mean, I don't get why people think that he did something wrong by putting on a fat suit for this. I mean, sort of like, what are you going to do? You're putting a 600-pound actor out of work? I don't really understand it. Paul Mescal did I say that right? Mescal, Irish actor. After Sun deserved to be in the top 10 probably, and probably deserved The Quiet Girl deserved to be in the Best Picture too, but these movies aren't going to get nominated like that. I wish. Yeah, The Quiet Girl probably got snubbed here. I can see it hasn't shown up yet. So, anyway, yeah, he's really good in what is Piers Morchant's favorite movie of the year, and I can understand exactly why. Bill Nighy and Living. Is that going to open here this weekend? I hope it's going to open here soon. I haven't seen it, so I'm going to pass on judging that. That's one of the few that I missed last year. Nobody sent me a screener of it, and I did not hustle enough to get one to get one. Yeah, I didn't know who was handling that actually. Best Supporting Actress. Angela Bassett, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Okay. Hong Chow, The Whale. Oh, that's really interesting. I thought maybe Sadie Sink would get that. I'm sure I don't have much of a problem with Carrie Condon, Banshees, and I think that's probably probably the odds-on favorite, mainly because we have two people who are nominated. I see we have two people who are nominated for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Jamie Lee Curtis. Is this her first nomination ever? It's got to be. Now, I don't know that. I'm just saying that. So maybe I'll put in something here if I'm right. I might just put a little subtitle here at 15:05. Whether I'm right or not about that. And Stephanie Hugh. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Okay, people love that movie, or at least a lot of people love that movie. Best Supporting Actor: Brendan Gleeson, Banshees of Inisherin. Yes, I agree with that. Brian Tyree Henry, Causeway. That's a Jennifer Lawrence movie that is on. Is it on Apple Plus? I have not seen it yet. I've heard really good things about it. I like him as an actor very much. I'm not going to argue based on a performance I haven't seen. I'm not going to say he doesn't deserve it. I'm not going to say he does deserve it, but he is one of my favorite actors. Judd Hirsch in The Fabelmans. Okay. I'm not. No problem with the performance. But if you were going to nominate people for movies I didn't really care for who played this kind of role, I would have gone Anthony Hopkins for our Armageddon Time. But anyway, is it Barry Keoghan? Nobody can really tell me how to pronounce that. I said Barry Keogh one time. I've heard that, but it's not what it's spelled like. Barry Keoghan, Banshees. I would love to see him win. But I'd like to see Gleeson win too. I don't know. And I think they'll probably do the same thing as the Everything All at Once actors in the other category. Ki Hwan and Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that he might be a dark horse. That's a really great story. If you don't know it, the last time he acted was in the Indiana Jones movie, and now 40 years later, so he comes back. It's great. Yeah, it's really wonderful story. Everything Everywhere All at Once is not my favorite film of the year, but I respect it, and I'm happy that it got a lot of nominations. Put it that way. It's a very un-Oscar-y movie getting a lot of nominations. I'm always for that. Cinematography. They don't have the cinematographers listed here, but I know one of them. So I'm just going to list the movies and talk about All Quiet on the Western Front. Definitely. I don't think that in my ballot where I picked three for SEFCA, 3 cinematographers, I don't think I added that one in there. But yeah, it's really good. Bardo, False Chronicle of Handful of Truths. I think I did have that one, and I think it deserves it. And I think that I don't hate that movie. I understand that movie. It's not my favorite Inarritu, and Inarritu is one of my favorite directors. But yeah, that's right. Elvis. Yeah, it's not bad. It's Empire of Light is Roger Deakins, and it is lovely. It's not much of a movie other than it's really more like a handful of discrete scenes stitched together. I wouldn't have mind seeing Toby Jones being nominated for Best Supporting Actor from that. And Olivia Colman's good in it. It just doesn't quite hang together tonally. It sort of falls apart. And it's got these big shifts that there's kind of, and Tar, I think Empire of Light, Tar, and Bardo were the 3 I picked for SEFCA. We can go back and look, check the tape if we want. Maybe I'll do that too. Maybe that will be what we'll do. All these things I say that I think I know, I will tell you right here underneath, if I'm right or wrong. Okay, editing. Editing. Oh, what am I doing? Editing. Banshees, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I think that's a really good, just off the top of my head, I think that's a really good editing job. I think The Fabelmans, which is next, is also a really good editing job. Tar and Triangle of Sadness, yes. All, I don't know. I mean, editing is one of those technical categories. I would have to go. I think if I notice the editing, it's probably not a good job. Now, that's probably not always the case, but that's a theory. Adapted screenplay, okay. All Quiet on the Western Front, I think that was an obvious one. Glass Onion, Knives Out Mystery, which is interesting that that's adapted. But, Living, again, haven't seen it, can't comment. Top Gun Maverick, again, that's adapted. That's interesting, that's adapted. Women Talking, yes, that's adapted, and I would have voted for that one. And I might have voted for All Quiet on the Western Front. I think I didn't. But I might have. I don't know what else I did vote for. I'm sure I voted for Women Talking. Production design. Okay, this is another one that's a category that we didn't vote for, so I've not thought about it before. All Quiet on the Western Front, definitely. Avatar: Way of Water. Avatar: Way of Water, like I said, to my mind, could have been an animated film. And yes, the production design is beautiful. Babylon has good production design. That's about all I would say about that film. Elvis as well. Fableman's, it looked like the 50s in that it looked like a honeyed, gauzy version of the 50s and 60s. So, okay. International feature. Here's one that, again, I haven't seen close. And I haven't seen EO, from the Polish film about the mule, which I really want to see. That might be my favorite film if I had seen it. Argentina 1985, I like that. All Quiet on the Western Front, I think definitely. And here she is, The Quiet Girl. The Quiet Girl, I think it's going to open next month here. It is a wonderful film, and it is an international feature. It's not in English, it's in Irish. And it is just wonderful. It's a great film. Okay, animated feature. These are all... everything I see here is exactly chalk. It would be what I thought would be here. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, not the other Pinocchio. Marcel with Shell with shoes on, yes. Puss in Boots' Last Wish, yes. Puss in Boots was a lot better than I thought it would be. The Sea Beast, which I didn't watch, sorry, but Courtney Lanning had lots of praise for it, and Courtney is our animation expert. Turning Red, yeah, that's the Pixar. Is that Pixar or Disney or DreamWorks? I remember it, so it's, yeah, I kind of figured that. Animated short, I don't know. I've seen a couple of these because they pop up on my Facebook feed, but I don't really know anything about them. My Year of Dicks is here. I'm gonna have to look that one up. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, which has become I think that's become a series now. The Flying Sailors one I saw, it's really nice. Okay, documentary feature. Okay, there's so many documentaries. Let's see. I've seen one, Navalny. Okay, I've seen that. House Made of Splinters, I don't even think I've heard of. Fire of Love, I've seen. All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. All That Breathes. I have no opinion. I mean, these are all, the ones I've seen are very good, but I don't really know. I'm just going to skip documentary shorts, live action shorts. Let's go to visual effects. Avatar, All Quiet on the Western Front. The Batman shows up. Not one of my favorites. Black Panther and Top Gun Maverick. I think Top Gun Maverick has got to win this category, don't you? It's because these are all practical effects and that. At least that's what they were telling us. Original song, Tell It Like a Woman. Applause from Tell It Like a Woman. I don't think I know that movie. Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick. No, because I don't remember the song. Lift Me Up from Black Panther. Not Too from RRR. Oh, this is the first time RRR shows up here. This Is Alive from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Okay. Original score, All Quiet on the Western Front, sure. Babylon. I don't remember much about that score. Nothing. Banshees, I like their score. Everything All at Once and The Fablemans. All right. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to go through everything, the technical awards and stuff, because I don't have any expertise in it. All in all, what this shows us, I think, is despite what a lot of people have said, it wasn't a terrible year for the movies. I mean, those 10 Best Picture nominees, I'm all right with them, with most of them. And the ones I'm not all right with, I understand why they're there. I don't know if anybody saw Banshees. I don't know if anybody saw Tar. That bothers me because it used to be that the movies were this sort of cultural glue that everybody had seen at least a few of these things. But, now every year I hear people say, well, I haven't seen any of them. Like it's a badge of honor. And it's not your fault you haven't seen any of them, except it is. I mean, especially with streaming service, you should be able to see some of these. But if you don't see the movies, then how can you call yourself a fan of the movies? It's like being a football fan and not paying attention to the season. I mean, it sort of doesn't make any sense to me. So, if you're a movie fan, I think you could probably say this was not a terrible year. Maybe not the best year. It wasn't 2007, for instance. But, not bad. I'll be watching at least a little bit of the Oscars this year to see what happens, and we'll do our little thing where we predict them and all, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. People are going back to the movies. This year looks like the box office is just going to be great. After Ant-Man comes out, like in a couple weeks, my sources tell me we're going to be off and running at the box office. And there's going to be something every week that people are going to want to see. Okay, so let's call it we're back to normal, or back to a new normal, back to, and we'll see what happens this year. So y'all take care, and I may see you at the movies. I don't know.